is Surya Saha, and welcome to the Insurtech Story Podcast, the platform to spread knowledge on insurance innovation, digital disruptions, and entrepreneurship. Our website, insurtechstory.com, and we are available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Today, we will discuss on the topic how are reinsurers playing an active role in Insurtechs. And for now, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Mayank Joshi, who is the head of digital business at Munich Re. Mayank heads the digital business for Munich Re's non-life reinsurance segment in India, Southeast Asia, Korea, and Japan, where he leads efforts in developing products and solutions for digital players. He is responsible for building key partnerships for Munich Re in the digital ecosystem and engage with Insurtechs to create value propositions. Mayank is also responsible for scouting opportunities in the above regions for Munich Re's investment arm, MR Ventures. Prior to this, Mayank was a part of sales strategy group at primary insurance company ICICI Lombard, where he was involved predominantly to define market strategy for corporate business. Overall, he has 12 years of experience in the insurance industry. Also, from the academic side, Mayank holds a master's degree in business administration from NMIMS Institute in Mumbai with a focus on sales and marketing. So, Mayank, a warm welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Surya, for this warm and elaborate welcome. Very excited to be here today.
Same here, Mayank. So, today's agenda, as we already briefly have introduced it to the listeners, uh, a lot have been discussed about digital innovation in the insurance value chain. So, can you give us some insights on how reinsurers are tapping into this opportunity of insurance technology?
Sure, I would love to address that, but before that, I'll just take a step back and give a listener a brief about what where does reinsurance lie in the overall value chain in insurance. So if you see the insurance value chain, you have the end customer who comes in the beginning of the chain, and then you have distribution network, agency, brokers, and bank assurance and other business or distribution channels. You have insurance companies, and at the back of insurance company, reinsurers are there, and reinsurers typically play a role in protecting the balance sheet of the insurance company, enabling the insurance company to achieve a higher growth and achieve their ambitions. And they also cushion they also facilitate the new product development for the insurance company. Now, when it comes to the context of digital innovation and the overall opportunities in this segment, I think the end of the value chain always is left out in this whole development, because traditionally, if there is a new exciting product development or new exciting distribution opportunities, the insurance companies are themselves geared up enough to meet those kind of requirements, especially because these digital opportunities are mostly lying in the retail line of businesses, where you do not have very high severity of losses.
Right.
Now, how we see from the reinsurance point of view these opportunities is that it gives us a good segue, or it gives us a good access to the customer, good understanding about the customer. So what we have seen in difference in previous day and age about the distribution modes that used to be used like an agency or a bank assurance model, that most of the product innovation was taken care by the insurance companies, and reinsurance company used to support on the balance sheet side. But here we are seeing that the overall capacity to innovate is much more seen in the reinsurance industry. And as the reinsurers are trying to get more and more access to the data and access to the customer, the whole product innovation has really scaled up from the reinsurers. So if you see the current digital distributions and the opportunities lying in that, then I would say that reinsurers are not only playing a role of protecting the insurer's balance sheet, but doing that product development along with co-creating that product with the insurtech partner, with
Mhm.
the insurance company, and taking over the risk on that side, and also taking a leap in terms of doing MVPs and as Munich Re, we have gone as far as ahead in investing in these companies. So Munich Re has a dedicated ventures arm called Munich Re Ventures, wherein we have already invested in close to 50 plus Insurtechs in the past 4.5 years. So I think there has a good as a reinsurers have embraced these kind of new challenges and new digital innovations, and there has been a great deal of support to the whole ecosystem at the back of the through the back of the value chain.
Right. I think that's it's a quite helpful insight, just to start with and explaining the listeners what insurance or reinsurance exactly is, because people do understand how insurance companies or insurers works, but hardly people are aware of what reinsurers are. Who are these reinsurers? Why are they here? Why they exist? And I believe they is the last part of the value chain that the technology or the digital transformation is actually disrupting.
Yes.
Amazing. So, just moving on to the question that we just discussed. So, can you just give some insights on how these reinsurers are tapping into the opportunities of insurance technology?
So, reinsurers, when it comes to the, as I said, that we are no longer at the back of the value chain. The reinsurers are more and more coming in front and actively participating in the product development. So, one of the key role that the reinsurers are taking is, taking the risk along with insurance company during the MVP stage, because what we have seen is the appetite to take a risk for a new product for this digital insurance distribution partnerships
Hmm.
is very limited. And when a reinsurance and insurance company combine their efforts, the overall appetite to take the risk increases. And hence, if you are able to do a very large scale MVP or relatively a large scale MVP, the success chances also increases for that product proposition. So I think that combination of an effort of product development is something that I would want to highlight is the
Hmm.
main the this is the way that we are tapping the digital insurance.
Right. Anything you would like to add on, the back end transformation that reinsurers, probably can do using digital technologies? Because I guess the kind of, for example, reinsurers are essentially insuring another insurance company, right? so
Yes,
so
yes.
there are a lot of back end paperworks, the same thing what happens for the insurance companies to the policy holder. So similarly for reinsurance company and the insurance company. So
Mhm.
how an insurance company is actually reinsuring themselves or reinsuring a policy which they want to cover, which is of huge capital intensity, right?
Mhm.
So that involves a lot of back end paperwork, a lot of back end human involvement. So do you
Mhm.
think, is there any way tech can help reinsurers make that you know transform?
Yes. Yes, I think we have come a long way in terms of utilizing the technology to also improve our processes and also make her much more agile. Now,
Right.
as a concept, reinsurance is a global, phenomena, or as a business model, it would work well if it is a globally spread across risk, working in multiple geographies. So
Hmm.
there you cannot rely on more legacy systems which are more based on local servers, and most of your underwriting platforms or whatever risk management and pricing that you do should not be more relying on the legacy systems. So we have made a transformation in converting all our technology on the cloud based platforms. And also you have to be very careful about when you are moving these legacy systems to cloud based systems.
Hmm.
Then the local regulations also comes into play. Now with multiple geography comes a different challenge of managing expectations of different regulations. So being compliant, striking a fine balance between the advancement of the technology and also leading to a regulatory compliant way. I think we have achieved that, and even the regulators are understanding the need of data being able to be shared or democratized, from the overall pricing perspective. So there I see that reinsurance companies have really evolved.
Hmm.
The other factor wherein the overall technology is playing a major role is not more on the how we do our businesses, but how we are enabling our partners to do the businesses.
Right.
Now, making the overall process of reinsurance buying much more easier, we are also helping the client to improve their technologies. So
Hmm.
some of the partnerships, let's say we have with some of the providers. So Munich Re is partner, for example, with a UK-based telematics company called the Flow. And with this technology, even in India, we are able to offer to our insurance company clients to offer this as a app-based telematics, platform to their end customers. So in a way, you can say that the digital changes or the digital technology adoption that we are doing at reinsurance end, we are passing it on to insurers, which in turn gets passed on to the customer as a convenience or as a added feature.
Right. Interesting. Mike, utilizing cutting edge products and technologies to give reinsurers new value added capabilities is a significant step to innovate, right? So, how you see this playing for reinsurers when it comes to building capacity to evaluate claims? Because I believe claims is not just a problem in insurance, but also in the reinsurance segment.
Yes. So, as a reinsurer, when we look into the claims, usually all the reinsurance contracts, we do not go into a individual claim of understanding why that claim has happened and how much has been paid or settled. That's more of a primary insurance company's role.
Right,
We mostly deal if there is a very large scale claim, we get involved over there as a reinsurer, wherein we try to investigate, analyze what went wrong and what could be the remedial action that it cannot be, that it is prevented for future. But
right,
what we are seeing also on the tech side, that the claims evaluation, even for the products which are not very high value claims, like a factory or a large business or warehouse getting a claim, but in the even in the smaller segments like a car insurance, we are seeing a lot of technologies being adopted. Like we have partnerships with multiple technology partners who are able to give you a real-time assessment based on the images of the car which just met with an accident. So an immediate settlement can be enabled once you are able to go through the extent of the loss that has happened. A small example of how we also work that out in as little as or else as small claim as a mobile insurance is when a customer clicks a photograph of a cracked screen, and if we are able to analyze through AI, through technology, that the phone is actually cracked, then we are able to do an online on-time claim settlement, and that takes not more than 4 hours. So this is definitely helping in terms of evaluating the claim in a quicker manner, meeting the customer's expectation. But also in a larger claim, we are seeing some technological advancement that enables or that gives us a very high probability or a very high convincing rate that the claim is actually admissible and what would be the extent of the claim that we have to ultimately pay out.
right.
So that's more on the claim side that we see the tech play.
Is there any major difference how an insurer work or how a reinsurer work with respect to these claims and how they evaluate?
Yes. Yes, obviously. So, typically reinsurance contracts would be a treaty or a facultative contract.
Right,
So, if it's a treaty contract, then I'm, as a reinsurance, underwriting the entire portfolio or a portion of a portfolio of a client. So, whatever claims happens within that portfolio, we assume that as one. So, we do not really go threadbare into which claim happened for what reason and what was the overall evaluation of the claim. So it is more or less like a portfolio level approach. So there we have, if you compare a reinsurer role, we would be more concerned about the overall development, about the underwriting, rather than about a individual claim. But when it comes to the other businesses, which is facultative business, wherein we are underwriting that individual risk, there we really go detailed into how the claim is managed, how the claim is evaluated, and what is the final outcome in terms of the payment. So this is, I would say, a difference in approach. The claims management always will be led by primary insurance company, irrespective
Right.
of whichever is the contract at the back end from reinsurance. But a reinsurer will not be looking into each and every claim of a primary insurance company. It will be mostly on a portfolio level.
Right. Yeah. I think this is a very, great insight and add-on knowledge for the listeners, because I'm sure reinsurance is something nobody must, or rather nobody has much of knowledge, particularly in the claim segment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving to some specifics, how do you see cloud on and on-demand infrastructure facilities helping reinsurers in terms of market accessibility?
So market accessibility is a major, core part of our business, because if all your risks are underwritten in a single market, then it's a 0-1 situation for you. Either you make a lot of money or you lose a lot of money. So that's why reinsurance always, wherever you see in the world the reinsurance company, they would have multiple geographies or multiple markets where they would be writing the businesses. Now with the cloud and on-demand infrastructure, I think it's become very easy, relatively very easier to set up the business, or to penetrate or enter into a new market now for any insurer, sorry, for any reinsurer. Now, if the decisions earlier used to take around 10 to 5 to 6 years to evaluate a market, whether that is the business is conducive in that market environment, whether a reinsurance business, if we enter into that market, would make sense or not. So today it's just a matter of couple of years wherein we would evaluate whether this country from the, or this market from the reinsurance business point of view makes sense or not. And then we are able to, with the agile infrastructure that we have on cloud, the platforms that I spoke about previously, the underwriting pricing platforms that we have, I think it becomes a relatively shorter cycle for us to really enter into a market, provided that we are able to comply with all the regulations, local regulations that are there.
Right, right. Just out of curiosity, among the reinsurance segment, globally, among all the reinsurers who are there in the market, where do you see their digital transformation journey progressing? Because we hear a
Mhm.
lot of cases, examples, demonstrations of how insurers are actually doing, but it's
Mhm.
very less spoken about how the reinsurance segment is performing. It's just out of your personal opinion, what you see out in the market.
So I won't be able to much comment on other peers, our peers, on where they are on their
Yeah,
digital
no, sorry.
transformation
Let me
journey.
just reframe this.
Yeah,
Not peers, but reinsurance as a whole, as a segment of the
as a
insurance
community.
industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think there is, as I said, that there is a fair advancement in terms of technology adoption by the reinsurers, and you would have, all your core platforms which are now in line, or quite up to dated with what's available best in the market on cloud technology, and also from the infrastructure robustness point of view.
Right.
But where I see a major difference, like, these are hygiene. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're running a business, that you would want to keep the tech up to date. But where I see a major difference is understanding of this new market that has opened up on the digital side, the whole insurtech market that has opened up. So I think when it all started back in 2014, 15 in the US, that insurtechs were popping up. I think there was a lot of skepticism that whether this kind of a business model would work or not. These are just tech companies. This is another bubble, and maybe would not work. And what we have realized working along with these partners, working along with this insurtechs, is that the way people used to buy insurance is changing, and this is something that is really going to be going a long way. And this is a scalable businesses that is scalable and sustainable businesses that could be built on these models. And this is where I see the major change in the reinsurance industry as well. So it's
Mhm.
not just Munich Re that you would see out there doing partnerships with insurtechs, or doing investments, taking
Mhm.
some equity shareholding in these companies.
Right,
But
right.
we have seen our peers, competitors also really actively participating and embracing these tech players, and also embracing this distribution channels. So I would say that the initial hiccups or inertia that was there is really not around anymore, and there is a good optimism that is built
Yeah,
around these business models which are out there on the tech side.
absolutely. I think the mergers and acquisitions part, which you have touched upon, it among reinsurers and the insurance sector, it's kind of a near-term strategy that the industry is looking at. And one of the trend that I would like to add on is how the reinsurers trying to execute on big data analytics, because the primary challenge of reinsurance portfolios that the industry faces is the volume of data,
Mhm.
right? And how the analytics and big data uh, technology can actually help them, or rather, real time analytics uh,
Mhm.
can transform this data volume or of the reinsurance segment or what they face.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. See, data plays a very major role now. The way we used to analyze and look into the data, and the amount of information that we used to get in the previous days, I think it has changed substantially.
Yeah.
We are now, as I said in the beginning of the call, in our discussion, that the reinsurers are now actively participating
Mhm.
along with insurance company to launch some of the new products. So you can imagine that the expectation will be that whatever is the performance of the product or the distribution channel,
Yeah.
the entire data set is also going to flow to the reinsurer. Now,
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
new data coming in, how well we are able to capitalize on that data to build
Mhm.
much more stronger underwriting procedures, and also build more products on top of that. So
True.
I think
True.
that's a fair expectation, and this is something that we have been doing.
Yeah.
And every large reinsurer would have a dedicated data analytics team who would be working on some of these projects, which are more creating best practice sharings in terms of what all products are, let's say, created in the Indian market, what can we learn best into that, how can we scale up into different markets. So all those activities through data processing and through data analytics are already taking place, between within the reinsurance companies.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a good investment, I think, each of these companies are making into this field.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, great discussion, Mayank. You know, great thoughts that you have brought out today, especially reinsurance, which is a very interesting as well as very complicated for people to understand. So it was a true delight to have you as our guest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Surya. It was a pleasure.
And lastly, to wrap this up, thank you for listening and see you at our next episode. Take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now.